Hello, everyone. Happy Pride Month. Welcome back to another season of Plain Rainbow's LGBTQ Amish and Anabaptist stories. I'm your host, Mary, and
James Schwartz.
I was raised Old Order Amish and Victoria Amish, and James was,
Raised Old Order Swiss Amish.
which is delightful. Before we get started, I'd like to remind you that this live stream may discuss trauma of all sorts to include all types of abuse. Viewers and listeners may find it unsettling and triggering. If this live stream causes you distress, please seek support from your trusted folks and qualified mental health professionals as needed. You may also cease listening until you're able to listen again. Also, the guests on our live streams reflect a diverse set of values, morals, and ethics that may not reflect the morals, values, and ethics of the Misfit Amish. And with that being said, we're going to welcome our guest, Hannah. Hi, Hannah.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good.
Would you like to introduce yourself so that the audience knows kind of who you are?
Sure. I'm Hannah. A big part of my childhood was being raised Holdeman Mennonite in Muddy Pond, Tennessee. And I had to kiss a couple hundred adults on the lips while I was still a minor due to something they call the Holy Kiss. And it's something that is still going on to this day. If you want to know more about it, I do have a memoir titled Beat My Journey Through Abuse and the Holdeman Mennonites. Yeah. And it's on like Amazon, Kindle, Audible, all that stuff.
The book looks really amazing. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's Pride Month, so a shout out to all the Holderman Mennonites out there. We see you.
We hear you. You're a valid. Your journey matters.
Yeah.
You deserve to live happy and healthy and fulfilling lives.
So what would you say to someone that was gay and in the Holderman Mennonite Church? Like, what's something that comes to mind?
That they aren't broken. Because I thought I was broken when I was young, that something was wrong with me. And they're not broken. There's nothing wrong with them.
I would agree. So, was there anything specific you wanted to talk about? Like, why are you wearing a red head covering? Like, we called those a kopdu, you know?
Well, why are you wearing one?
Because
Yeah.
it's so funny. It's so funny.
Okay. So
oh my
in the
God,
Holdeman,
James is in the hood.
so in the Holdeman Mennonites, to go to church, you have to wear a tie-down head covering over top your daily wear head covering. And the ties, you have to tuck them in, or else you'll tempt the boys because the ties point down towards your chest and it will draw their eyes downward. Do you feel tempted right now? Are you doing okay? Do you feel like the Holdeman Mennonites are right?
I think they may be overreacting just a little bit.
Maybe.
See, but look,
Yeah.
I even have these delightful pins. Look at them.
Yeah.
They're delightful, aren't they? Aren't you
They're
feeling
super
tempted
cute up
by
close.
these? Don't you feel tempted by these? Don't you feel
Very.
like this is like totally okay? I'm really being a Jezebel now. Okay. So, but we were like, just to be clear, like I was Old Order and Victoria Amish, and we called them Koptiho. I don't think y'all called them those, but that's what we called them. And they're very similar. I literally just made like a thin, it's see-through, so it's not within the rules of the church. And yours, like, would you have been allowed to wear that color?
Absolutely not. No, it was black only. And then this also, it's got little roses on it. I don't know if you can tell in the camera, but it's got roses.
No, that's
Yeah.
it looks very. Oh, now I can see them, and
It's
yes,
like glittery too.
I saw the glitter. I
Yeah.
was going to say, were you allowed to have glitter?
No. That's why I have it on.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
embracing the gay. There are copious amounts of like glitter required to be like part of the
Yes.
LGBTQIA plus community. Like you just have to like embrace all the glitter, right?
Yeah.
So the color, the type of fabric, is everything else correct about it?
It's not technically the right size. It's a little long. I left the tails a little extra long just because they would be, I don't know,
This
2 to 3 inches long hanging out instead of all this.
But this is like really like legitimately sized off of like an actual Amish koptu. Like, weren't you supposed to be generous in covering your head so the Lord can see it?
No, you know what? The daily wear head coverings are so little. They're called head coverings, but they're just like little caps that basically cover your bun, and you gotta tuck in the little tail of it. Well, you would have to like see pictures for it to make sense, I guess. I don't know how to describe it. But it does have a line down each side in the back of it, and it looks like lady parts. So
I'm
I'm
sorry.
just saying.
Okay, I've seen a
Uh-huh.
video on your TikTok about that,
Uh-huh.
and I kind of like fell out my chair laughing. Like it was inappropriate to send me that at work. I felt like I was tempted. I just don't know. Like I think the Holdemans are corrupting me, and I have some kind of issue with this.
You're so funny.
I feel very corrupted. Yes,
Don't you feel corrupted? Like
absolutely.
I always looked at the Copti hotels and was just like, oh, it's just a thing. I never thought to like, use it to entice lust. Like, you mean we could have been like, we could have been doing all kinds of things with these tails.
Yeah. You're so quiet, James.
I muted myself.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think it was the Mennonites that corrupted me. It was Detroit.
You can blame Detroit. I blame the Mennonites right now in this moment. They literally made me think about whether people masturbate to the tales on Coptiha. That was the Holdeman Mennonites. They introduced me to this concept. So I really feel like they are corrupting me. And I have concerns about my own spiritual welfare right now.
Praying for you, girl. Praying for you.
Good luck, James. Good luck. What do you think, Hannah?
I think that an incredible amount of things on the Holdeman Mennonites are about sex or about kissing. Of course, their little kissing ritual, gotta run around kissing people all the time, which is horrifying. Even strangers on the mouth. But, yeah. I feel like I should be describing this better. I don't really want to, though. I think that
you don't want to. Well, you don't have to do anything. Really. You don't want to. Yeah. Like, ooh, that's bad.
What's bad?
It just did something. There, I fixed it. But anyways, So you feel like you should describe what do you feel like you should describe that you don't want to?
Well, thank you, Mary, for asking me what I don't want to describe, because that would be describing. Okay, no.
No, you don't have to describe it, but like you were talking about the kissing and how they sexualize things. Like, so I'm just wondering which one it was that you don't feel like comfortable describing.
the holy kiss. But now the more I think of it, the more it's pissing me off. So I suppose we could talk about it. I meant to talk about it on the other thing we did recently, and then I didn't. So
Okay.
I should.
But you also don't have to. And like
I
really
know.
this whole like the head coverings being like inducing and inciting lust is something I just can't quite grasp nor fathom. Like, I mean, who does that? Who looks at a head covering? What kind of person looks at a head covering and goes, "Oh, that's so sexy. Oh my
John
God."
Holden. John Holdeman apparently looked at it and thought that. So I just don't understand, because you're right. Someone had to be the first person to have that thought in their head that the ties hanging out were drawing their eyes downward and tempting them, because it's the men that make the rules. And John Holdeman was the original leader. So it would have been him or shortly after him. I don't know exactly when that was implemented, but
Okay.
yeah.
So somebody had the first thought.
Yep.
And somebody literally went there.
And made it a rule.
Because it wasn't that, he go ahead, James.
And everyone else said, "Oh, this is normal."
Mm-hmm. They're like, okay. Because it's always the female's fault too. If you tempt the guys, according to Holdeman Mennonites and so many other groups. Yeah. And it's sick. I mean, how are you going to look at any woman or female that happens to be wearing a head covering and tell them, it's my fault that I'm looking at your chest because your ties are out? That's messed up. That's really messed up. But yeah, if our ties would pop out at church.
So I can remember my mother washing her hair, and she was outside drying it, and a buggy started coming down the road, and she had to go inside because she didn't want them to see her outside drying her hair.
Yep. But you were saying what happened in church, Hannah?
I was going to say, if our ties popped out in church, that a lot of times people, like the guys in particular, would look and maybe kind of snicker or something. And then any other lady that saw would tell us to tuck them in real quick, that it was hanging out. So it was just.
Did it feel shameful?
I don't know that it felt shameful. It was something that it was out of place, only it's way worse than if just your hair is out of place. It's you're out of uniform, and that's not acceptable. You have to be in the uniform that is set for you.
So not everything is correct in the world, and people look at you differently because your tails are not tucked in. So what would a Holdeman man say or do if he saw me walking around in my see-through, voile type, like, koptu?
It'd probably be a little bit horrified.
What about yours with your glitter?
Ooh, mine is fantastic. Can you imagine walking into a Holdeman Mennonite church with this on? It would just be amazing. The horror.
Hannah,
Yes.
I don't know if that's safe to do. I don't know.
It's absolutely not. No. That's why we're only imagining it and not doing it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Imagination is a powerful tool, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, how did you come to grips with everything about yourself and being able to accept some of the trauma you experienced and then all of the things that you've learned about yourself in the time since then?
how do I come to grips with it?
Hmm?
I mean, it sucks. All of it sucks, and there's no way to change any of it. There's no way to fix any of it. I'm trapped with PTSD forever, and so coming to grips with it is more or less of a just keep breathing type thing. Every day I get up, I have my little routines that I do that make me happy. Is there really a coming to grips with it?
Well, there's
Like,
do you have meaning in life after all of that?
okay.
Do you have meaningful connections?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I have a spouse. I've got a couple kids. I have 3 dogs, which is deeply important. Okay, I'm obsessed with my dogs. And I have my little routines that I do that are important to keep me sane. So the
Mhm.
happy little tiny things from the time I start my coffee to everything else. And I am shunned. So I have and plus, I mean, I really wouldn't want anything to do with them anyways, but I have created my own little family out here. So, like,
Mhm.
I call one of my neighbors mama.
Mhm.
I have the tendency to adopt people as family members. I don't really give them the option. I just kind of start calling them something one day, and then, you know, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I think for a lot of us that are gay, chosen families are especially important.
yeah.
Did you know that there's a whole group called stand-in families for queer people on the Book of Many Faces, Facebook?
Oh,
They have different groups for different states in the United States, just for people to build meaningful connections with people around them. And I've actually met some people through that group.
that's really cool.
Yeah. Because sometimes you just need a friend to go talk to, or even though you might not have, know somebody, sometimes you have to be able to put yourself out there to be able to meet somebody new and to give them that time and trust that maybe they could be somebody that you could connect with.
Yeah.
So yeah. So what would you say to anybody who happens to be part of the LGBTQIA plus community and might be a Holdeman Mennonite?
Um, for one, to get the heck out. Obviously, run. If they're a kid, they can't, really run though. You're kind of trapped there. So just don't believe the bullshit
Mhm.
because it's it's not true. No, nobody's gonna burn for being gay
That's
or
right.
anything else. Yeah.
That's the truth.
So yeah.
I would say there's a lot of spiritual abuse that happens in the
Mm-hmm.
Anabaptist communities, Mennonites, Amish, it's the thing.
Mhm. And I think for me, I would also say, I think your journey through abuse and then figuring out who you are and figuring out how to have meaningful connections is really what you're sharing with us is really a testament to how it's a story that's telling people if you happen to be queer, you happen to be gay or bi or trans or whatever it is, that isn't exactly the norm. There is still hope for you. You can have a meaningful life. You can have meaningful connections in life. You can have people in your life that care deeply about you, even when you wear out of order head coverings with the tails out. Even then.
I don't know, Mary. What do you think the Amish bishops would say about my Madonna T-shirt?
Ooh.
Would that be okay?
James, I was never an Amish bishop, so I can't really speak the truth about it, but I can imagine.
Hmm. I mean, it is a black shirt, so.
But it's black, and you know damn well you're not supposed to wear a black shirt. You don't even have a collar. Your neck's exposed too. What's wrong with you? I'm just saying.
You can ask my ex-boyfriend.
Oh, you got a number for me to call? I'm not sure I want to talk to him. But maybe I might. Someday if I'm bored and I really have nothing else to do, I can get up-to-date information, okay? But anyways, what would you say, James? What do you think?
Well, I would say it's Pride Month, and it's going to be um, a challenging month for some people in the Anabaptist communities because, of the oppression that they're under. So it's really hard for them to make meaningful connections. So, like Hannah said, leave. It's really the only way.
Mhm.
And if you want to go back later, then you have that option. But leave is probably it's the most liberating thing that I've ever done for me personally.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, and I would say too, like, be curious, be open to receiving new information and looking at things and maybe a little differently, because sometimes some of that struggle that comes and happens is really happening around your internal self-worth and the way you feel about yourself. Because when you're taught that you're an abomination or you're going to burn eternally, or any of a variety of different things, or just that you're wrong because you don't fit into the mold of what is a cis heterosexual person. At that point, like, maybe think about it and really examine, like, what makes one person more right than another person. You are who you are. You can't run away from that. It's part of you. And some of us, we find meaningful ways to cope, and some of those meaningful ways for me to cope are literally just trauma humor. Trauma humor is a delightful thing. It's valid. And the other
Yes.
part is having conversations about all of the things that, I've experienced with all of the guests that I've had as that we've had as guests on our podcast. Like, I feel like I've learned to understand myself so much more because everybody teaches me something, and that matters. And I would also say that all of you, like, whether you're still practicing Anabaptism and you're still in the church and your church doesn't accept you or not, like, at the end of the day, even if your family doesn't accept you, you are still a whole valid human being. And you live in America where you have constitutional rights and you are worthy of those rights. You deserve to exist. Would either of you like to make any parting statements?
I'll just say happy Pride to all our fellow gay Anabaptists out there, and Mary, happy Pride to you, darling. It was so wonderful to spend time with you in Chicago recently. We had so much fun.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
It really was. Hannah, thank you so much for joining us. and I can't wait to read your book.
Thanks.
What about you, Hannah?
Happy Pride. Go paint some rainbows around the town.
Wear some glitter.
Yes.
And if you find yourself bored, consider wearing a glitter rose koptuch in honor of Hannah.
That's cute.
But anyways, thank you to all of our viewers and guests. We couldn't do this without you. This was hosted by myself and James Schwartz, funded by the Misfit Amish and our Patreon subscriber, produced by the Misfit Amish in 2024. Art is by BJK. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Until next time, go forth and live your best gay lives.